Snark Chocolate, a show about CK products, where we break them down with rich flavors and sweet insights. I'm Queenie, and I'll be co hosting this episode with Omer. Today, we're thrilled to be joined by Jay Prakash, co founder and CEO of Silence Labs, a full stack platform offering verifiable privacy. Jay, it's been a while, and it's great to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you very much. A nice initiative, really.
So, first of all, could you please introduce yourself and share with us how you began your journey with Silence Labs?
Sure. So yeah, like you told, I'm one of the co-founder of this company called Silence Laboratories. It's a Singapore headquartered company, largely building cryptographic libraries for compute on distributed secrets. And those secrets can be private keys if you are catering to digital asset pairs, or these can be private data if you are catering to typical financial enterprises, or whether in Web 2 or Web 3. The seeding of Silence came during our PhDs of respective co-founders. We started as a more of authentication company, and we're using lots of algorithms around sound, and that's why the name Silent. Back then, we were using inaudible sound for authentication and proofing systems on client side, and then we made couple of pivots, and then we found a very strong product market fit where a cryptography like MPC tools or threshold signatures were quite attractive back then and when used by different digital asset pairs. And yeah, that was our fast PMF moment. And since then, yeah, we have been largely focused on two verticals. The one product is called Silent Shard, which is largely catering to digital assets pairs. And one is called Silent Compute, which is catering to traditional privacy. And yeah, probably we'll touch all of these one by one in a while.
That would be great. So I still remember that when I first invested in a company in 2022, your goal was to become a decentralized security provider. So is that still how you position yourselves today? And in your view, what exactly does decentralized security mean?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's been around 2.5, roughly 3 years since then. Um, the underlining tech certainly is about decentralized security, compute, and privacy. But the narrative and the mode we communicate has changed. Back then, I was more of a person coming from academia and trying to sell tech. Now we are more realistically selling value prop and less on the tech side while we keep building and greening technological innovations. But yeah, the core primitive remains same. We want to enable an infrastructure where enterprises can collaborate, they can run functions without moving data in centralized position. And this data can be either form of secrets. So yeah, that core primitive remains same. And that's what we will be keep pushing for. Infrastructure which allows you to compute arbitrary computation on secrets.
hmm So I can actually interpret decentralization here into trustless, maybe, for like to the
Yeah,
customer.
potentially correct. Yeah, I mean, if we don't exist, there are techniques like either somebody can use TEs or one can use clean rooms in traditional privacy world. All parties can dump data and they can collaborate and create inference. But then you are trusting a party. I can go and use
Mm,
Databricks, Snowflake's clean room even now, and that works fine. But the trust assumptions and privacy constraints that varies, and that's what we have to cater to.
cool. And as you just mentioned, over the past few years, Silence Labs has already introduced several products, and you started with authentication. So, shall we walk through the products one by one? Shall we start with
Yeah, we can
authentication?
do that. Yep, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so in the beginning, we were doing a lot of proofing using sensing on the phone for authentication. And this is before we entered KMS space. So, yeah, your device can be used for proving proof of proximity, proof of liveliness, proof of humanity. You see projects like Volcoin coming up recently, right? So, and in world of AI agents now, we are realizing proof of humanhood or proof of liveliness is very important. And so is the proof of proximity to a verifier and the person who is trying to get any service from. So yeah, that's where we started, and that was a silent auth or authentication product. And then we
Mm,
entered into another product called Silent Shard,
mhm,
which is about enabling enterprises like digital asset players. It can be wallet, it can be either form of wallet, phone wallet, browser wallet, or a fully delegated wallet like delegated KMS or custodians. And so, yeah,
mm,
they all can build a better version of infrastructure for key management, and top of that, multiple more features to build a sophisticated wallet. And that's what we are offering in Silent Shard. One of the things which we are very proud of back then was when we started, everybody was claiming to be doing self custody, and self custody was more of a loosely used word. We tried to use a couple of first principle arguments, and then we placed a whole spectrum of custody. Self custody can be divided between distributed self custody and single point self custody, and then shared custody models like Omer. Yeah, he founded Zengo, which is a perfect example of shared custody using MPC or threshold signatures. And then we have dedicated custodies where keys are being protected by a set of isolated nodes. It can be three party, four party, or more than that, depends on the design and economics. And that's a more of a delegated and distributed custody. So yeah, we define those spectrums and then we tune our product to enable all the whole spectrum of the products. And now, since then, we have been working largely with wallets, custodians, and now banks.
mhm. So, in terms of the customer base, which product is the key product right now at Silence Labs?
So, in terms of our revenue, I would say Silent Shard is the key product, which is
Mhm,
consumed by digital asset players for
mm,
2024 and 2025. But if you ask me down the line, 2026 or the late of 2025, it will be silent compute, which will flip the story. Because, yeah, compute on private key is not as big as a market, we believe and we learn, than compute on general data. So we
mhm.
believe the story will flip. Our revenue will be much more dictated by what we do in general computation.
Okay, cool. Then let's dive deeper into Silent Shard.
Sure.
Maybe could you please give us a real world example that illustrates how it works?
Right. Silent Shard is nothing but a set of libraries and protocols which fundamentally enables you to perform digital signatures in a threshold manner. So typically imagine a retail wallet, somebody like, yeah, similar like Zengo, where you split your private keys during doing a distributed key generation into two pieces. Not literally, but yeah, you agree on two key shares. And that way you remove single point of failure. You also remove single point of custody. It becomes a shared custody model. So that's what Silent Shard enables. The beauty is it can be scaled to any quorum, any policy, phone, cloud, or any form of consumption. And that's why we have seen it scaling in arbitrary forms of users by diverse set of customers.
And it's
Ultimately,
based
it's a wallet development kit for digital
as
assets.
also it's specifically for this use case.
Correct. Yeah. It's largely for this use case now, but actually, yeah, now we are realizing that it's the same fundamental is not only important for Web3. We are observing that people are talking about protecting TLS keys, MTLS keys, even now, and therein threshold signatures can be quite powerful. And the reason
Mhm,
being twofold. One is as more and more client-side keys becomes risky through in MTLS, people will start to either use HSMs or TEs, or they will look for some software-based solution. And when they look for software-based solution, threshold signature is a good choice. So in traditional Web2 world as well, we are seeing some traction, but largely currently the focus has been mostly Web3, where
mm,
people are building wallets in different flavors.
mhm. Got it. So if we take this wallet's key management as the example, then the product actually operates as a B2B2C model, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. We typically license this product to businesses, and typically they are serving some retail users
mhm.
downstream.
Yeah, then what is the integration experience like for the developers, and also what does the end user experience look like?
Right. So yeah, the integration experience has been maturing as we matured a company. In the beginning, it was a more of a Rust library, and it took around a couple of days to integrate, but we slowly learned. And this focus now has been to make that integration super swift. So now it's just a couple of API calls, and people can integrate that library no matter what they are building a phone wallet or the browser wallet or a general custody solution. And for the end user, it has to be generally we have just a social login or pass key connected with a KMS under the hood. So a retail user will never notice what's happening, whether it's MPC or not. And fundamentally, they don't care. They care about the the security guarantees which companies provide. So for them, yeah, just sign in through some social login, SSO, and you get your wallet in a couple of seconds or a fraction of a second. And that's where the speed is super important, which potentially we'll talk. Onboarding a user and creating a wallet and all this also happened pretty quickly, and that has been our core focus as well.
Mm-hmm. And were there any like specific challenges you had to come to make the experience as seamless as possible?
Right. It is definitely a top priority because our customers and partners will only choose us if, yeah, if they can provide a very seamless experience to the retail users. So developer experience eventually has been a very, very important key factor. And even in terms of competition, while anybody will choose us over anybody else. So yeah, certainly development experience, integration experience is super, super important. And their speed also is quite important, how the retail users will perceive their journey, onboarding journey, and their algorithm has a good role to play.
Mm. And I noticed you also achieved one of the fastest MPC-based signing libraries. Is this still the fastest?
Yeah, people do claim, so do we. And but it's not like it's just because Silence has done some amazing work and we got this. It's just because largely because people in academia have been putting lots of sweat and building algorithms. And so yeah, we are just one of the early members of that community, you can say, and early members of who implemented those protocols. And luckily,
Mm-hmm.
one of the team members was involved in that protocol. And right now, which is popularly called DKLS 23. It was a series of protocols, DKLS 19, then yeah, 23, and before it was 17. So yeah, coincidentally and luckily, we had one of the member involved in that. So we implemented pretty quickly, and also we know nitty gritties details of the protocol. So it was quite robust right from the beginning. And that's where the claim of fastest comes into picture, which is true. It's not false. But yeah, I will thank to all the research which has happened in past couple of years and maybe a decade in this space.
I wanted to ask about how do you make sure that the libraries are secure? Um, I guess you do some audits. Is there some cadence for that? Are you doing audits like every time you make a change for every version that is like shipped to or used by a customer and so on?
Yeah, definitely. The only guarantee we can provide is through audits. I mean, anybody can write a paper, get it published. The code being correct and that verification comes from audits. So our routine is roughly we audit every quarter or if a major feature is shipped. And we typically engage with some of the good auditors like Trail of Bits, Cure 53. And yeah, potentially we were forced to audit the KLS 23 threshold signature library by anybody else in production, which Trail of Bits recently put in the blog as well. So yeah, audit is a very, very important piece. And not just audit, social proof is also very important. And that's why we opened the whole library a couple of months back. So now anybody can go, attack, find vulnerabilities, and that has helped. We have got, yeah, actually two good helps from that. So keeping code public has been a great, great reward down the line. People can argue it loses competition, but potentially it's not true. People consume such liabilities because of expertise, because they don't want to take that liability, and putting things in public helps in getting confidence and as well as public eyes.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about like the competitive edge here, because like I know that Coinbase released their libraries, um, and in general, like threshold signing and cryptography, there are like open source libraries out there. So how do you differentiate yourselves?
Yeah, good question. Coinbase release of the library was pretty much well timed because we also released, in a matter of a week or so later. Compared to Coinbase, I think we are better in the speed, definitely. Our efficiency of wallet creation is much faster, and particularly is very evident when people want to create a larger network. It gets very perceivable, and that's important for onboarding, like I told before. In general, other than that, this whole market, I would agree, has been getting slowly commoditized by a couple of players, and there we can remain competitive and ahead by conducting more and more research, providing more features. So, coming from academia, we all of this have inherent desire to publish papers. I won't disagree, and that's what we do have as well. But engaging with customers and then finding the problem and finding it challenging enough to put research muscle behind, that helps us a lot. For example, yeah, we learned that identifiable about finding a cheating party in a threshold signature is an important problem. And that's what we have been behind, and we solved it. We recently got published in ACM CCS just a couple of weeks back. And so, yeah, those innovations are beyond what's available in public domain in open source libraries as well. That helps us win big customers because we can support those niche features and as well as rapid modifications. So yeah, we will keep on continuing innovation. And the next motivation for us is the moment ECDSA and EDDSA, they are deprecated by NIST, we should be ready with post-quantum signatures. And we do have some early results on that. We do have some early results on post-quantum threshold signing. And yeah, that would give us more competitive edge down the line.
Because Omer just mentioned Coinbase, it reminds me of another case. So recently, MetaMask just acquired Web3 Auth.
Right,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, it's another MPC service provider, right? Especially on key management. How it would
Correct.
affect Silence Labs? Because I noticed that MetaMask is also a partner.
Yeah, that way, yeah. I mean, I don't think we are making any substantial revenue from that MetaMask stream, so it's fine. So,
Mm-hmm.
and actually, that acquisition is helpful for us down the line because now we have created a product called Silent Network. Literally, we use it to create copies of Web3 auth. So if anybody has funding and they want to create a copy of Web3 auth, yeah, we can help them launch in a couple of weeks. So yeah,
Mm.
potentially, yeah, there'll be more companies coming up because the space is certainly getting a bit of rush with previews getting acquired and then Web3 getting acquired. There is a gap in embedded wallet stream. I feel Dynamic is the only decent player on Turnkey. Maybe more players will come, and we are here to empower them. So, from business
Oh.
perspective, I feel it's good for us.
Mm-hmm. How does it work? The Silence Network?
Silence Network is a productized form of the library, which is not just exposing APIs for wallet creation, key management, signing, recovery, and rotation. It has a high upper layer as well, wherein we have added couple of adaptations of creating a scalable node, a scalable network. So therein we work very actively with Google Confidential Space team, and then we have super optimized network creation with rich features. So the experience will be any developer can come, start a network with a couple of command calls, and that network will have also a boilerplate of front end like Web3 Auth or Lit or Privy kind of companies, and then they can modify them from the right from there. So imagine, yeah, you have access to a boilerplate or white label versions of Web3 Auth and Privy, which is a tool to go to faster go to market for embedded wallet
Mm.
player.
So then, for example, Web3 auths, they can outsource uh like the competition or yeah to the network or
The companies which want to build something like Web3 auth, yeah, they can use this code and they can launch their own network.
So you mentioned earlier post-quantum signatures. How do you imagine this will play out? So yeah, there are like standards already, but it's not
Yeah, good
really
question.
like used in.
So the honest fear we have is post quantum and going ECDSA route, right? What I'm hinting at here is EDDSA was a much more easily available protocol, right? But it could not get adopted when Bitcoin paper was being written, and the one reason was patent. Because of patent, EDDSA was blocked and not so popular. And then ECDSA was super hard to be done in MPC. That's why such research works were done. Similarly, in post-quantum world, we have a couple of candidates like Dilithium, Sphinx, and others. But we certainly know not all of these are equally achievable in MPC setup. One of them will be much more easier than others. Particularly hash-based are super hard. So we want to rush a bit and maybe educate the community who is going to choose one of these three, that okay, this is what you will end up going that lane. If you choose this is what will happen if you choose this. And so community can choose either the three or more standardized signatures, but some of them will be very, very MPC friendly, some of them will not. Our initiative is just to educate by conducting research on all of these three. So far we have chosen the lithium, and our results are mostly in the lithium space. And actually PQCell actually released a paper as well, probably 2 weeks back, and so they have a very good result on the lithium based TSS.
but it should be on your mid to long term roadmap
Yeah,
or
we are, we
it's
are, we
some.
are going to announce some results in around August.
Oh, cool. Looking forward to that. Nice. And also, I noticed there's another product called Silent Compute, and I think you
Correct.
also just mentioned it. Yeah. So, can you tell us how it works and how it actually maybe integrates into the other silence products?
Right. Hmm. So yeah, silent compute is more of a product which was built after understanding the scope of the market. So our strength as a company is we are cryptography, designing protocols which understands MPC and similar pets. But we understood eventually that yeah, the whole digital asset space, if we just keep on serving KMS or wallet SDK, wallet as a service, is not that big. And then we started to look around what are other opportunities where similar skill sets or similar tools can be used. And that was the genesis of silent compute. So silent compute is you can imagine with a mental model that it's a virtual machine, simple, which helps two or more parties to collaborate on secret data. Simple, yeah. So you have D1, Omer has D2, right, to compute some function f of D1 and D2 without moving data in a centralized location. So yeah, we are enabling that VM as a service. And that's what silent compute is about. It's a more of a privacy compute virtual machine using cryptographic guarantees. And other alternatives are certainly using TVs or clean rooms, like I talked in classical Web2 setup. And so that's where we are putting lots of energy and resources right now, because
Mm-hmm.
our SaaS product is more mature and it's more in sales and business mode.
Mm-hmm. So TE is an alternative.
Yeah, TVs can be good. Yeah, they are good alternative for what we are
Mm,
building. Yeah, and people are building companies and many solutions around that.
mm-hmm. How would you compare the like the pros and cons? Like because I guess most people have this concern about MPC on its performance, maybe.
Good. Yeah, yeah, that's totally true. So Our stand is that a general purpose MPC or general purpose compute VM, if we are claiming, it's probably not true. So what we are doing is we are verticalizing our approach. So we are choosing one vertical typically in financial world and optimizing our library just for that. Since we know the functions right from beginning, we can optimize, do lots of optimizations on protocol level, pre-compute level, and then we can serve the market with something which is more real time. So we are not going after fully any
Mm-hmm.
function, any compute, any data kind of model. We are going after a very particular set of industry and particular set of computes and functions. And our approach is largely optimizing from that front. And there, compute is not that big of a problem.
Then why did you choose financial segment?
There's a more pull. There's more pull in finance. People are more willing to because privacy is a game of fear, right, and regulation. So yeah, finance has much more fear. The data is much more digitized. We could have chosen healthcare, but we'll not. Yeah, healthcare has not uniformly and universally that digitization done yet. And awareness also is much more in finance for pets. It's more driven by market. Yeah, we just followed what market has been willing to provide money for.
Mm-hmm. I think this story is not new because it has been one of the use cases for MPC since
Yeah,
MPC was born.
it has been there for a while, more than a decade. The story is nothing new. There's no novelty. I think the execution is important, and that's where we feel we will win if we have to win. Execution of picking right problem statements, right use cases, it's super important. That's why, yeah, we dumped the whole idea of general purpose privacy compute. We are not doing it. We are particularly picking some use cases where we feel this solves the problem. For example, we are largely focusing on cross-border cases. Because of land localization laws, you can't move data around, no matter encrypted or not. So in cross-border setup, MPC solves a good purpose. It can be two-party or more party, yeah. So in cross-border, it's a good sweet spot.
So then here, I'm curious, are you competing with some existing technologies to solve this particular demand from the customers, or actually you're offering a new service that can enable like some new kind of business that hasn't been existed before?
Right. It's a hard question, actually. I would say we definitely, when we enter market and in a discussion room, we do definitely get compared against confidential computing, where people
Mm-hmm.
use secure enclaves. FHE also comes up, but for now, we can tell, okay, FHE and very super customizable hardware can be used for dedicated purpose. But if you want to use something which is much more scalable, probably for now, for time being, MPC is a good choice. But yeah, we do definitely get compared with confidential space. And that discussion leads us to filter down which use cases we can win and which we cannot. And there, wherever there's multiple parties involved and there are lots of cross-border, cross-company data movements, I feel, yeah, people are picking software or cryptography-based approach over hardware-based approach.
Nice. Have you already onboarded some customers for
Compute?
Silence? Yeah.
Yeah, we do have. We will be announcing sometime soon, but yeah, we do have some serious financial institutions in the space. Particularly, a couple of companies are building anti-fraud networks using us. Simple use case, very simple. Imagine 10 companies, each of them have siloed data, which is for sake of easiness, you can say backlist, right? And now a new entry comes in one of the company. They want to do a network search and retrieval, very simple function. But this is only if the network is wide, and you can guarantee that if you can search in a database without exposing what you searched for, it's a powerful offering while easy. So yeah, basically a secure and private search and retrieval. It has been there for a while, but yeah, productizing it and making it live with customers is important. So yeah, people are building anti-fraud networks using us, and that's under mature stage with a couple of companies. Then you have delegated compute. People are building private data vaults, or banks are building delegated compute. Where typically now, if you go for lending, banks typically will give data to a lender or a lending processing company for analysis on user consent. But what that lending company does, we don't know. I mean, they can be cross-selling and doing other use of data which is not consented for. So yeah, there and we are seeing some good pull coming in. So yeah,
Mm,
largely in finance, largely in cases where multiple parties are involved, that's the sweet spot. And then
mm,
yeah, there are some nuances which we are learning now in agentic world as well, but that's a bit early to comment.
hmm. That's really cool. So I'm curious because cryptography technology itself is really complex. And also, different technologies may have their own trust assumptions. Then,
Mhm.
how did you convey trust to customers? How did you persuade them to onboard?
Yeah, that's actually a very it's a tough problem. Depends on whom we are talking to. Because once we say, okay, this uses some concept from MPC, this uses concept from partial or fully homomorphic encryption and all, they don't understand. So what helps probably is two things. A very good video which shows the product at abstract level. If like I told, the secure search, if we can compare the secure search and retrieval against hashing and show the demerits of hashing, and then uh, pull out a good video demo at a very abstract level, it helps them convince. And then, yeah, we do refer to, okay, this is a paper and this is the competing companies doing it. So, yeah, Meta has been doing a lot in the space before. They use lots of two-party MPC, PSI in their ad tech, martech space. Such kinds of things also helps us in cross validation. So yeah, competition is good in the space if it's early. Typically, we are able to buy on trust through a couple of things. Number one, showing good visual representation for business people who have buying decision. Number two, cross-referencing papers. Number three, audit. Number four, competition.
Mm. Yeah, because you're trying to onboard some customers from the financial segments. I believe they should have very complicated procedures, and it's not easy, right, to
Yeah,
onboard
definitely,
them.
definitely. Yeah, correct. We do face problem. That's why the sales cycle is pretty long. We got a
Mm,
bank onboarded in 14 months. So sales cycle is very, very long and we have to be patient. But this is also true. If you get three banks onboarded and which are global banks, then the onboarding next five will be very fast. So we have to survive. The game is about survival for a while and then acquiring two or three big companies, winning their trust, and then hope it will be easier down the line. But yeah, certainly
mm,
it's hard. It's hard to convince people to shift their mental model. In very simple cases, like I told, yeah, people are happy in clean rooms in Web 2 worlds. Databricks,
mm,
Snowflakes have clean rooms. People use to cross indus data, ad tech, martech, even in healthcare. They're fine. But we have to show through some first principle thinking what is the drawback, what is the problem.
okay. And the secret sauce is also never giving up.
Yeah, correct. And that is a function of survival. We are a startup, a still in early stage. We have to survive.
hmm Um,
I'm still trying to maybe a good use. Maybe if you can provide a use case, a concrete one that would be useful to trying
For
to
compute.
understand exactly. Yeah, for compute.
Oh, okay. I mean, so one of the use cases which you can read in public domain, probably you will say, okay, this is super naive and easy, but yeah, that's where the things start from. Is Bank of Internet Settlements did a project called Mandala. So Mandala project involved four international banks from Singapore, Malaysia, South Korea, and Australia, and they were trying to solve privacy in cross-border payments. So when you move money from a bank A to bank B, then bank A has fiduciary duty to check if the recipient is in a sanction list or not. Simple. Now, in traditional world, the bank will send this name a string to a data broker. That data broker can be LexisNexis, Darwin Jones, LSEG. and similar. The problem is your name string can match with multiple other names, right? So there's use false positive. But imagine a simple PSI where you take name string, append with passport, append with more other secret information, and then do a two-party secure search and retrieval. Then the probability of false alarm and of false positives are pretty low. And that's what Mandala did. It's one of the many functions they used. But yeah, those are financial use cases which are picking up. Uh, for example, in cross-border payments. And yeah, this is the whole report of Mandala is public, so anybody can read Bank of International Settlements, Project Mandala, and how they use privacy technologies for banking.
Who is it that you're selling to this technology in a bank, for example? Who's the buyer? Who's paying?
Good question. Uh, I won't say there's a single buyer, but there's a single champion, definitely. The problem statement is actually finding a champion who believes in the tech, and then that person can go and convince the board and the team members. If we try to sell, I don't think it's going to work at this stage of the company to the whole executives in the banking sector. So yeah, finding a champion through different path, and typically working with CISOs and VPs of data strategy, or in digital assets VP of digital assets. These has been ideal persona. CISOs, VP of digital assets, VP of data, and sometimes monetization part as well. Because yeah, data in silos needs dollar. You just saw right from JP Morgan, the news from JP Morgan. They are now going to ask for pennies and dollars for using the data which was available kind of free. Yeah, monetization department also is a good target to be convinced.
I'm wondering if AI will bring you some new interesting opportunities.
Good question. I mean, private inference in AI is a hot problem, but I think NVIDIA is using TEs and CUDA and other support. They have taken a good ride in the market. So that's not where we have a good competitive advantage. And the reason is compute costs as well. I use in cryptographic setup, so I don't think MPC will win that market of privacy inference. But there are certain nuances in that world. Largely, I would say cross enterprise collaboration using AI tools. That's a sweet spot we are currently targeting on. Which yeah, we will talk more in one of our releases coming soon. But that's the hint I can give right now. So I feel AI will explode a couple of cases, definitely. But yeah, not in the infinite space. Yeah, that's not something I feel we are poised to win.
Maybe something like agent coordination.
Okay. Oh yeah, you are hinting in the right direction.
Okay. Yeah, looking forward to, hearing more from you in the
Yeah,
near
sure.
future. Yeah. Okay, then one thing I'm super curious is how do you assess the market landscape you are competing in today? Is it a market of privacy or a market of security?
Mostly privacy. Yeah, mostly privacy. I would say.
hmm
Yeah.
Then I feel,
Mhm.
yeah, the market of privacy seems to be like not so mature yet. I'm not
Correct.
sure.
Yeah,
How do you
definitely.
see? Yeah, it's going to evolve.
Yeah. So it depends on the lens we see from. If we see privacy tools as a lens from compliance, market is not mature. But if you go and tell a person which has huge amount of data that if you use this tool, you will get more dollar, that becomes a different sales point, and that's what we have been trying to hook onto.
Mm,
And so privacy is
then
a more of an enabler. It's a more of an enabler to make more revenue opportunities and not for compliance.
what's your strategy to operate the companies in the next, for example, 5 to 10 years? And you have to be patient to wait for the market to be
Yeah,
mature one day?
correct. Yeah, definitely. And that's not something which small companies can do. They don't have luxury to wait. But yeah, the exciting thing is that we have learned through all this past 2.5 years that selling a licensing library is cool. It's lean. We can serve market and still maintain a good dominance technically with a team of 15 people, 20 people at max. It will work. But it's not going to give us enough amount of revenue because the appetite to integrate a library and consume is not that big in current state. People want something which is much more usable, easy to onboard, do a couple of drag and drops, couple of connection. Yeah, there you go. Plus, also, licensing libraries is not helping in attracting more revenues by building more and more products. So, what we have learned is library was a good path to build the base, but we have to build platform. So, now we are moving. Already, we have been making progress on providing this whole thing as a platform. So, platform as a service is something which we are more excited about, and that's what we will emerge into. If everything goes well, too see silence as a privacy compute Databricks or Snowflakes of the world.
Hmm. Then are you going to put more efforts in like maybe outside of a Web3 industry?
Uh, right now, potentially they are merging. So the
Mm,
both are, yeah, the boundary and edges are getting much more thinner until we don't talk about just coins or some which
mhm,
are running in their own silos. But in traditional finance world, that boundary is getting more and more blurry and thin. So we
mm,
typically won't care whom we are selling to.
I
It's more
see.
more the
I guess,
problem. Yeah,
yeah, then I guess that's a healthy signal for companies like Silence Labs.
I guess so. Yeah, like I told,
Hmm.
yeah, privacy is still, and you also told privacy still is not that a hot topic, and people are not putting immediate money because it's not a burning problem.
Hmm.
So yeah, we have to navigate and find some parts which makes them excited.
Hmm. Cool. Then I guess it leads to our final question. It's actually a routine question we ask everyone on the show. Uh, Please name a project you are bullish about.
I can't recall a company, but
Mm,
I'm very if I had time and if I had immediate dollar, I would create a reversed version of how ads work in today's world and and provide all control to the user. What I'm hinting at is now the conversations are all based on intent. People are talking and searching less. People are talking with LLMs and they're not searching that much on Google. That trend is obvious, right? If I want to buy a
mm,
laptop, I go to ChatGPT or Perplexity or somewhere. So those people have huge amount of context about me.
mm,
And now if they or I or somebody can create a private data vault, which has huge amount of data about me, and then allow some tools around that to expose my intent to the suppliers of products, that will flip the whole ad tech market because now the control is with me, what I can share, and there are sufficient privacy tools to do that. So I would bet on something like that. Yeah, a private data vault
mm,
based on my intent of conversation with different agents available out there.
mm. I guess it probably can be achieved by using ZKTLS to
Oh yeah,
port
definitely.
your
Yeah,
content
you are hinting in
and
right
then
direction.
generate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely
Okay.
something, yeah, I look forward to, and there are companies probably building around in that direction, and yeah, they will
Mm,
eat a lot from traditional ad tech markets.
mm. Cool. Okay. I guess that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jay. It was great to learn about your stories and different aspects of Silence Labs. For those interested to learn more, we've added some links in the show notes. Thank you, Jay.
No, thank you very much for having.
Thanks, Omar, for co hosting.
Thank you, Queenie.